All right, welcome back. We don't have any advertisers as of yet, so if you want to advertise in that spot, feel free. We would love to have you. We were talking about how our government was set up and how it was set up to, leave modern day politics aside, where in the break you said something that I agree with completely on how we have Shilohs, or like I like to call them safe spaces, to where how dare you disagree with me on anything, on any subject whatsoever. Which is why I started this, because I wanted to, a little side note, I wanted to bring cigar culture to the world.
Yeah.
And this is cigar culture. Me and Greg talked about it last week. There was a time when me and him were discussing a hot topic issue outside at Jerry's, and we both got loud with each other. And they thought we came to blows. We weren't going to come to blows. We were just getting loud over a subject we were passionate about.
Passionate about, yeah.
And I think that we have got to get back to where I don't have to agree with you to talk to you.
Yeah.
You don't have to agree with me to have a conversation with me. And when we stop having conversations, honestly, I think is when we actually lose this country completely.
I think we as a people just don't communicate at all anymore. You think like most thing from what I know, we're more inside than we are outside. I grew up I was born in 92. So the 90s to the early 2000s, especially being back in my little hometown of Green Cove Springs, bro, we had a bike club during the summers. We had the city pool. It was like we were living in the Twilight Zone, bro. We would wake up early during the summer, get on our bikes, bike to the city pool or bike wherever and chill. And we were like my parents. The street I grew up on, I knew all my neighbors this way. And I could go to them for anything and they would help me. I don't think we had to leave our doors locked. Like we felt safe. And I don't know too many places like that anymore. I just don't see it. But I'm really saying that to say we have to find ways to get out and converse with each other. I think another group in Tallahassee that does a extremely great job at doing this and creating conversations is the Village Square Associate. I don't know the official title, but it's Village Square. I was just at an event last Monday or the Monday before, or maybe that was a Wednesday, about 2 weeks ago, centered around like food. And you had a couple of local chefs, Jay Morrell from Early's Kitchen and Yolanda Bowman from Blackberry Mimosa. And these are all local places, local chefs. But we were at the Moon, and it had to be a room full of hundreds of people. But what that did, I was blessed and fortunate to be invited by LaShawn Gordon, who's like a big sister to me. She's like, hey, I'm out of town. Hey, come on in. Can you fill in and, sit? But I was fortunate to be at a table with two folks I had already known and another two ladies I had been in the room with before. And I don't remember who the other lady was. But I guess from being in sales, bro, when I meet people, I treat them like I've known them forever. I just haven't seen them in a long time. Absolutely. So that's how I build my trust. But in that space, it was a space set up for conversations. Tell me about, your family, your history, and this, that, and the other. And you're asking questions. And in doing that, you find the similarities between all of us. And it builds a sense of trust, and it builds a sense of community. And, we don't have community today. Like people always talk about, we got to save the community, but we don't have a community to save. And people going to disagree and, you got to talk about the positives. Like, let's cut all the nonsense out. I think I think we get caught up in that a lot, and it hinders us because we don't actually want to tell the truth about who we are, where we're at, and where we want to go. Like, we don't want to, and I get it in some aspects, like, because say you done came from struggle and this, that, and the other, and what you have, which may not be a lot, you're protective of. So you don't want somebody coming in being critical of whatever that is. But to get anywhere in life, Jay, and this is what I know. I don't think, I don't believe, I know. You have to be 100% truthful with where you are to get anywhere else. And basically you're building a solid foundation. If you don't have that foundation, or if you built that foundation on sand, it ain't worth dirt. You may climb, you may get up and do a little bit, but eventually, if that foundation isn't secure, you'll fall back down, man.
Well, that's what the Bible says is, those that build their foundation, you have to build it upon a rock.
And I tell you this, and I'm a country boy, and I'm a member of the Church of God in Christ, and I'm just gonna say this: I can't stand church these days because they move from devotion to this praise and worship and and all this old type of old nonsense.
Well, they use churches as a drug nowadays.
I guess it's like
their drug.
Like a motivational speech. But I was saying that to say, I remember this song growing up, and it said, there's a storm out over the ocean.
Yep.
And it's moving this old way.
Yep.
And if your soul isn't anchored in Jesus,
yes,
you will surely drift away. And you have to be grounded, man. You have to be lit. Like, people ask me all the time, man, where'd you come from? I'm just now finding out about you in Tallahassee. I didn't know who you were. What happened? Brother, I went through a storm in my life. In 2020, that December, I lost a cousin right over here in Bluntstown. That February, I lost my brother. 2 weeks later, his cousin, also in Bluntstown, passed. A month later, my friend from high school, one of my close friends from high school, passed. A few months later, I think another cousin passed. An aunt, uncle, another uncle, an aunt, a nephew. This is all within like a two-year stretch of losing 6 to 10 people. And then I got into a terrible relationship with a broken person. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? With a broken person. And that broken person took me from bottom to rock bottom. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying I'm some perfect angel or didn't have my faults in that, but this person knew she was broken to begin with, didn't care for me at all, was just tolerating me. And I guess since I was broken, I didn't see the red flags were waved. I just didn't look at them because I was already going through what I was going through. But that ended, and we were trying to converse and talk, and I was broken. I needed companionship and this, that, and the other, and still talking afterwards. And it got to the point where she started accusing me of doing things I had never did. But man, the manipulation in that of a person knowingly trying to set you up.
Yep.
And I didn't realize this until after the fact that she had falsely accused a man of rape. And admitted to me. And get this, man, and not to be some bitter person, I just find it funny. This same person has a nonprofit talking about domestic abuse today in Tallahassee. And I hate, and I'm not gonna say who this person is, but I'm saying all of that to say I went through pure hell. She accused me of holding her hostage. I had to go to court. She tried to get a restraining order out on me. I'm from the all-American city of Green Cove Springs. I did teen court as a kid, so I was always helping kids that did get in trouble, and so to have to appear in court and to plead your case in front of a judge about something you didn't do. But I'm gonna tell you this, and you're a religious person, spiritual, religious, however, but man, in my preparation for that court case, or just explaining, I didn't do this, and this, I could not get it together. I couldn't find stuff. I couldn't find messages. I couldn't find letters. But bruh, around 8, 9, 10 o'clock that night, God went to work. And I found everything I needed. I could hear it clearly. Hey, grab this. Hey, know that file cabinet you got in your bedroom? It's in this drawer. Go ahead and pull that out and make a copy of that. And by the time I went to bed about 11 to 12 o'clock that night, I had a binder of all the accusations and lies she had told on me. And here's proof directly from her that that's not true. I got into court the next day, and the judge was Miss Barbara Hobbs, Tallahassee.
Yep.
And a black lady judge. So I was already fearful. I was like, oh, this black lady, and I hate to think that way. I was like, well, this black lady's accusing me.
Yep.
And bro, her opening statement made me look like I was Ike Turner. Like I had did this, and this, and he just talks to women nasty and this, that, and the other. I'm like, really? But man, Judge Barbara Hobbs was like, why are you trying to, when she saw what I had and threw that out, she was like, why are you trying to put this innocent black man in jail? And from that, brother, I had to rebuild on a solid foundation.
Yep.
And that's how I eventually got to Fuma. I started smoking cigars on the south side at Tom's,
old place,
Capital Cigars. And once he passed, a friend told me about Fuma, Phil Ward. He's like, hey, let's hit this place up right here. And I went in there for the first time, I think in January of 24, like right after New Year's. And I had been there ever since. And what I needed, I'll say this, cigars and the cigar culture of men and women saved me. Because me going through that, I spiraled to the point where I couldn't do my job at work. Because mentally, a person accuse you of something like that you see every day, you're in a relationship with, they don't give a damn about you. You know what I mean?
No, they don't. And people that don't understand cigar culture are going to look at that and truly not understand it. But I smoke on a regular basis with guys that will tell you straight up that if it wasn't for a cigar lounge, be it Fuma or Jerry's, they'd be dead right now.
Bro, I'm so thankful that I first started going after that first time. My friend was in town. He lives in Jacksonville, but I was there with him and another one of my friends with her, and I just started going and sitting by myself at Fuma. I would be alone, just sitting on the couch, not talking to nobody. I didn't know anybody.
And guys won't let you do that for too long.
Oh, that's exactly what happened. So eventually, I started going in and sitting, and you know, sometimes some days it would be crowded, so they'd be like, "Well, can I sit here?" And we just started conversing here and there. There's another dude I'm familiar with. There's another dude I'm familiar with. And there's another dude I'm familiar with. And, it just became a whole culture because it allowed me to get my thoughts out too. And for a lot of times, I'm 33. A lot of times the men in the cigar bars are older.
Yep.
So to hear from them, I'm not a fan of reinventing the wheel. So to hear their own experiences and to treat me like a son or a younger brother or a cousin, that's what the cigar culture is, man. It really saved me. And whenever I'm around you or anybody else that we know in the cigar game in Tallahassee, it just feels like family. It
really is a family, and we call each other's brothers, and we do it for a reason.
Yeah.
And doesn't matter whether it's 3 o'clock in the morning, you're stuck on the side of the road.
Yeah.
You have guys that you know you can call.
Yeah.
And they might say, crap, I got to get out of bed. But they're coming.
Yeah.
I have been sitting there with guys that have been going through financial problems.
Yeah.
And going to lose their house. And the brothers find out. And then get mad at that brother for saying, dude, your house is almost in foreclosure. Why didn't you tell us ahead of time? And by the time he leaves that cigar lounge, he's got enough to pay his mortgage for 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
And, whether it's a broken car, whether it doesn't matter. The guys are there for you. And that's honestly what cigars are about.
Yeah.
People think it's just all wood, just there like a bar, getting drunk, getting wasted.
No.
And what we're really doing is what we're doing right now. We're sitting down We're not looking at our phones.
Yeah.
We're having real conversations with real men, and I think that's what men want, and that's once again why we're doing the dirt floor talk.
Yeah.
Is that, you know, women have outlets everywhere they turn around. There's an outlet for a woman. If a mother can't pay her bills, it's all, look at that poor mother, let's help out. A father can't pay his bills and the world looks at him like he's a bum. And at the cigar lounge, it's like, okay, it's almost like what church should be. You know, where we accept everybody of all walks of life. The only thing we ask is that you be truthful in what you tell us.
Yeah.
And that you don't put on airs trying to pretend to be more than you are.
Yes.
And that goes back to the fake it till you make it crowd, which I hate that slogan. And because I always tell kids, I'm like, you know, if you're faking it, how do you know the guy you're sitting next to doesn't want to offer you the job of your dreams?
But since you faked it, I can't offer it because you already doing well.
Because you already made it.
Right. I think people use that incorrectly. I think fake it till you make it should be more about mentality instead of just putting on, oh, I'm doing well, I'm gonna drive this Mercedes and this, that, and the other. Don't live outside. Coming from finance, man, one of the biggest things for me that was eye-opening as soon as I pretty much started was, and I will never say who these folks were, but they would come in their Mercedes Benz and Range Rover and big, big fine cars, but they were coming to me to borrow money for the light bill, to get groceries in the house, very basic stuff. And then me being a pragmatist, I'm like, hey, okay, I can let you lend you the money for this, but when you come for your appointment, print out your bank statements, and we're gonna go through some stuff. And what you would find was they're driving this car and have this car payment that's $8,000, $9,000, $1,000, but they're only making $45,000, $50,000 a year. That's gross. So really net, maybe 41, 39,000 net. And what are you doing? Like, you're putting on for appearance. And no, if you're gonna fake it till you make it, fake it mentally.
Yeah.
But be real about who. Like I said previously, you can only grow
when you know who you are.
And if you're truthful about wherever it is. Because when you're truthful about wherever you are and wherever it is in life that you are, you can actually go somewhere and build off of that.
Yep.
Because you're truthful. You know your strengths. You know your weaknesses. Like right now, I know my weaknesses. I know I have a general understanding of what my strengths are in life. I know what to work on during the day. I know what's going to knock me off course, what I need to do to bring it back. To me, it's just now being cognizant. But if I was BSing myself, oh, ain't nothing wrong with me. Hey, let me go drive. Let me go pick up this Mercedes Benz. Let me go put all these flashy Gucci belts on. But what you do with that too, people don't realize, and I'll speak specifically for men, you attract the wrong people.
You do, 100%.
You attract takers.
Yeah.
You attract takers, people who just want something from you because you have something.
Well, I'll say 2 points. First of all, the guy who has taught me the most about finances,
Dave Ramsey,
in my life. I actually like Dave Ramsey, but no, I won't say his name. He's probably the richest guy I know personally. Drives a old Toyota 2-door pickup truck. Owns businesses in multiple countries.
Yeah.
Could write a check for $10 million and not affect his life at all. Wouldn't even affect him. Has told me more about money than I've ever learned in anything I've ever read in my entire life. Didn't grow up rich.
Yeah.
Grew up, doesn't even have a college education.
Bro.
And made it extremely wealthy because of hard work, tenacity, and being honest with himself. And one of the most real people you'll ever meet. Never known him to turn down giving real advice to anybody. And when he speaks, people listen, especially when he starts talking about finances. People take out notepads and they're like, okay, well, tell me about this. Tell me about that.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't even know anything about trust. Knew nothing about trust. Told me that before I get remarried, everything I own needs to be in a trust. Which is a subject we need to talk about one day on the show. Knew absolutely nothing about it. But that's what you get at a cigar lounge.
Yes.
You get men who have made it, who aren't afraid to look at you and say, LJ, you know you're doing that wrong. And here's how you can do that better.
You have to be humble too.
You do.
And I'm humble every day, my friend. Like, we were not raised. So my mom's side of her family is from Bluntstown, Mariana, Weewall, all these little small towns. My mother is mixed. And so she wasn't, she was born in the late 50s, so growing up in the 60s. So she definitely wasn't accepted by white culture, being a mixed child for the most part, and then wasn't fully accepted by black culture either. People don't realize, because you're mixed, So I'm saying that to say that being uppity or being somebody, or if I could best define it, to me, is looking down on somebody, looking down and treating them as less than. And coming from a mother and a father who grew up, my father was born in 47.
Yeah, my dad was born in 43 in a garage.
Yeah. My father's born in 47. He's 79, or will be 79 this year. My mother will be 69 this year. But coming from that era in life and those crazy times in the 60s and 70s and 80s, we're just not raised to look down on anybody. That's the quickest way to piss me off in life, is coming in thinking you're better than somebody else, or having this idea of, oh, you ain't nobody. And I'll take this back to sales. And I made this mistake big time. A person would walk in the door, clean, Gucci belt, big suit, or whatever it is, designer clothes. Man, them folks would more than likely be broke.
Yep.
Now, my father, like you were describing that gentleman, my father wears Wranglers, a button-down plaid shirt, boat shoes, has a box Toyota, has a couple of cars, an old pickup truck, never went to college, Vietnam vet, Air Force vet, the smartest man I know. And it's not because he just has Albert Einstein brain or something like that, but he's a pragmatist. He's going to break it down into simple terms and get to the root cause of whatever it is. And that's the way I do my best to look at life. You know what I mean?
Life should be looked at. And I know this older gentleman from where I grew up. Man went to buy a couple of tractors, him and his buddy. I wasn't alive then, but they tell the story. He told me the story himself to me, where they went up to this big place just outside of Atlanta, and they drove an old pickup truck to get there. They looked like they had absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
People not wanting to talk to him. He finally goes up. He's like, I didn't really want to do business with him, but I kind of had to at this point because I need another tractor for the farm.
Yeah.
And he says, I walk up to the guy and I'm like, hey, I want 2 of these things. And the guy's like, yeah, okay. He looks at him. He's like, look, here's my banker's card. Call my banker. He's like, whatever. He calls the banker, and the banker looks at him and says, how many did you say you wanted? He said, yeah, I know. He says he wants 2. Oh, okay, I was making sure I didn't have to make it out for 4. That's what he bought last time he bought them. And the guy's like, what? And in my line of work, the biggest policy I ever wrote was in a rundown trailer in the middle of nowhere. Guy paid $862 a month for life insurance because he wanted to leave his kids more money. Guy looked like he didn't have a pot to piss in. Was never late. Paid on time. till the day he died, that policy came out of the bank and cleared the bank like it was nothing. And I think we get caught up, and that's why I like about the cigar lounge. It always cracks me up too, when you get somebody new that's sitting there talking to somebody like my guy, and he's like, "Oh, I know more than he does," and I'm just like, "Nope, you need to sit down, shut up, and listen, and learn." And the other thing I was gonna say is, we touched on the relationship side of things and drawing the wrong type of women.
Yeah.
And my boys laughed at me when I decided I wanted to find the right woman in my life. Coming from divorced and everything else, I made a list. And I said, this is who I am, and this is what I want. And I went on a lot of first dates. Lots of first dates. And the second date, I would set them down. And I would say, look, this is who I am. And this is what I expect from a spouse. And if you're not that person, tell me now and we'll part as friends. But there won't be a third date. And I wasn't ready to mess around with the wrong type of woman.
Yeah.
And I think that guys need to stop with I always say that lust is blind and love isn't. We always say love is blind, but love's not blind. Lust is puppy love. That if you can't tell me anything that's wrong with the person you're dating, you're not in love with them. You're in lust with them.
Right.
Love is when I know everything that's wrong with that person, but they still fit me. And I'll take them with what's wrong with them because they fit me. Had an old guy at Tom's old place. I think he's dead now. But he told us on many occasions, he said, when it's time to get married, he said, all women are crazy. He said, so find one that craziness makes you a better man. He said, and if they're not crazy, they used to be a man, so you need to run anyway.
Wild stuff. Wild stuff, man.
But I think that we as men, we need to be humble. As you can hear the dogs outside conversating with each other. You get real stuff at Dirt Floor Talk. We're not we don't put on airs here. But I think we need to be humble. We need to learn to listen to people. And I spent my entire life thinking I knew better than everybody else because I was the smartest guy in the room. And I was on many occasions. And it hurt me in business because I would look at somebody and be like, but that's wrong. And I wouldn't go about it the right way explaining why it was wrong. And it caused me not to be humble until I had to go through the flood, go through the fire, wake up one day, and realize that I am in my 30s and I have wasted the last 10 years of my life. And that's a humbling experience. And it's also why you don't see me drink very often. I'll have a couple of glasses of scotch every now and then.
Yeah.
But I won't touch it on a big basis because I won't ever go back to that guy. And, God has brought me through a lot of the fire and out the other side. And I think when men go through that, I think it does humble them, like what you went through. And it allows you to listen to criticism the right way.
Yeah.
Because not all criticism is bad.
I believe if it's proper and true criticism, it's never bad. What we get into today is the way something is said, which it could be, like you were just saying, it could be 100% true, but you're saying it in a wrong way. You're saying it in a more so attacking way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I love constructive criticism, but to be or to even receive constructive criticism, you have to be humble, because if you go into something with the mindset of, well, he can't teach me nothing. He ain't got a college degree. He ain't got this, that, and the other. Like, who cares? But that goes back to what I was saying about my parents growing up back then, about the uppity is a curse word in my mother's family. That's one thing you don't want to be classified as an uppity person. And I can say I'm most proud of anywhere I go after a person has met me, if they can say I walked away and that guy right there, he's genuine. He's a genuine person.
And that's what real men are. And I classify you can be 60 years old and still be a boy.
Yeah, man. It's a Bible, one of my favorite Bible verses, but it basically says, when I was a boy, I spoke as a boy, did as a boy, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. And people always ask me, man, you always in a suit or a blazer and this, that, and the other. To me, there's no way me in my early 30s now that I should look like on really any day I look like I did when I was in my early 20s. But what you have today, and I'm not knocking it, but it's just not for me. And not for me and my family, and me knowing my family history and where we came from. We're from, my father's family's from right here in Brooks County, which is what the neighboring county. What's this, Thomas County? What's next door, Lowndes or Brooks?
No, Brooks and then Lowndes.
Yeah, so
Brooks
next door
would be Quitman.
Quitman. Yeah. My family's from Quitman, Georgia. So I know the history dating back to the late, I think we pushed it back to the late 1700s. Yeah. I know everything. My great-grandfather was born enslaved. Not great.
Yeah.
And people try to make it seem like it's 1,000 years ago.
And it wasn't.
My great-grandfather was born enslaved right there in Brooks County. So my grandfather, Lacey McMullen, Senior, my grandfather and his siblings were the first born free.
Wow.
My grandfather, not great, and all this type of nonsense. And then my father, and then came me. So my grandfather had my father later in life. My father had me later in life. So I appreciate more, the dress and the style and, and then my father also was in the military. So I don't know, the way I look at and dress, it's always been in me to dress well because people treat you differently based off the way you are dressed.
Well, this is something I'm learning. I grew up from two, as they would classify themselves, poor barefoot country people.
Yeah.
Didn't have a pot to piss in growing up, and I made the mistake. I'm sitting in church, and I love my pastor. He's going to be on here eventually. And he repeats himself after about 30 minutes. And that's good for a lot of people. They retain it better. But me, if you tell me something, I've got it. I've always been that way. In college, if a professor would lecture on what the test was, I never had to take notes. So I'm gonna buy a new hat and a watch and a pair of sunglasses, and I send it over to ChatGPT, and I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? And he responds. My ChatGPT always calls me brother. I guess he matches what I call people. And he basically insults me, and he tells me that I have no idea what I'm doing in dress. And that if I want to be more successful, I need to dress better. And, well, I knew nothing about style. I don't. I'm a guy, and most of us don't. And which is why you can always tell a man that's in a relationship with a woman that loves him because he always starts dressing better. I remember when my parents got married. My dad married my mom when I was 3.5 years old. And I don't even think he owned a suit. After that, Mom started dressing him in a suit. And he told me what to wear. And I actually bought a blazer because of it. I bought a different hat because of it. And I've noticed, I was in Walmart in Perry. And I went to get something. And I'm sitting there talking to the lady. And she's addressing me as sir and all this stuff. And then an older gentleman that's in his 60s walk up. And she's like, doesn't give him the sir, doesn't give him any of that. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, okay. And not that I'm being uppity in the way I dress, it's that I do think as a man, we always talk about how we want our ladies to dress.
Yeah.
And I think if we want our ladies to dress more appropriately, we probably should ourselves. And we look at how our grandmothers dressed, and grandfather would have never let them out of the house wearing what a lot of these women nowadays wear.
My mother is a beautiful lady who taught me the game, about women. But before that, she ran the tight, what they say these days, she ran a tight program. That house was thoroughly clean. There was no dishes ever left in the sink overnight.
Nope.
Because she would raise pure hell.
Now, my mom was the same way.
Yeah, she raised a strict house, and we couldn't dress any type of way. We couldn't look any type of way. Even if I wanted, I always tell folks, even if I wanted to go to the gas station or just walk to the store or go to the store, I couldn't. It's not in us to dress all effed up, because people dress. Think about this: if a person walked up on you, and these kids wear, and I hate to be like a boomer, but man, they're walking around in a damn ski mask and a bonnet, and they just look funky and stink to me. Like, why are you in Florida? And not to judge or nothing like that, because that's looks like a fad thing, but it's Florida. You in a hoodie, a ski mask, and whatever else, you look like a robber. And especially if you got black skin and the police walk up on you and say somebody just got robbed, you don't think they would at least ask you, since if you in the vicinity, they ain't gonna approach you because you look the part of a robber. And I'm not saying, because I know that's highly layered, because shit, back in the 60s, you had folks in suits and they were approaching them about this, and this, and you can't go here and this, that, and the other. But I'm just saying, like, to me, and I can only speak on me, the way I dress and move has helped me get into rooms I never would have gotten into. Like, if I go to City Hall, I look the part. If I go to the Capitol, I look the part. Well, who is that man? Being at FUMA, just sitting alone, I would always have people approach me. Who is that man?
Yeah.
Who is he? Women. Who is that man?
Mm-hmm.
Why he dressed this way? Why does he smell this way? Like, what's going on? He must be somebody I need to know, just by the way you dress. But that's the real fake it till you make it.
Well, and I don't even think that's fake it till you make it. I think that's taking pride in yourself.
Yeah, right.
And
right. I correct myself. Yeah.
So many times, and look, coming from the white culture, and I'm gonna criticize my white brothers for a second, because nothing annoys me more than seeing somebody get married and the woman's got this beautiful white dress and the guy's dressed in camouflage or something, and that's not country. Your grandfather would have snatched your butt up so fast, taken you outside and beat the crap out of you till you put on a suit for your wedding.
Yeah.
That's not country.
It's self-pride.
It's laziness.
Yeah. It's self-pride, but, people do a little bit of everything these days. I guess I'm more so traditional in dress. I try to be conservative. Like, you'll never see me in loud colors, and I try to blend in. I don't want to stand out in public. I'm trying to get what I need to get done and go back home.
But you do stand out because you are the best dressed person in my circle.
I appreciate that.
And I say that. In fact, when I was having you on the show, people would say, LJ. And I'm like, tall brother always wears a suit. They're like, oh, yeah.
That's how I'm recognized.
That's exactly how you recognize.
But it's also the frame. I'm like 6'2".
You are.
Yeah, so I'm a tall dude. So it's certain things I can't do. It's like, for me being tall, I know for a fact, being tall, people are always looking up my nose. I'm crazy self-conscious about that. I always have like tissue and stuff with me, because I can't have like a dirty nose, or my nostril hairs. Man, once I hit 30, Hey, that's a full force. So I'm always
Always,
clipping
always.
and trimming and doing this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? But I have to be careful about because I hate to keep harping on this, but being a country boy, man, I'll hug anybody and
Yep,
come up and
yep.
shake hands. But man, people are so nefarious and manipulative, and they got, and not to be a conspiracy theorist, but there's some folks who want to take you down. Oh, he hug people? Oh, let me see if I can get a hug, and then let me wait to say I felt uncomfortable.
Yep.
Or he came up to me and did this. You know, so I had to, it hinders me from embracing people the way I would like to embrace them. Because you never know, what that looks like, and you have to be aware of your surroundings,
You do
man.
have to be aware of your surroundings, but I have a really good friend, and me and him were talking the other day, and he said, you're probably the only person I've ever met that truly doesn't care what people think about you. And he said, how do you do that? And I told him a little bit of my background. I was the fat kid with a speech impediment. So I learned how to fight at an early age. I learned how to throw fisticuffs at an early age. I was the youngest child of brothers and the second youngest cousins of nothing but boy cousins.
Yeah.
And but I told him, I said, if you ever want to be free in life, you got to stop caring what people think. You got to care what you see yourself in the mirror. And I think that goes back to being a man, is we have to care more about what we see when we look in the mirror than what everybody else perceives us to be.
Appearances mean absolutely nothing. It's just like I was saying about the folks that had the Mercedes Benz that were broke. Like, you have to stop caring. And I always ask folks, I say, can you list the last 5 presidents? Oh, some folks can. Especially being in Tallahassee. Yeah. I
I think I can last. I think I can go all the way back to like Grover Cleveland. But anyway.
Yeah, same, yeah. But I'm saying that to really say that those men and folks were the most important men in the world in their respective places.
Absolutely, 100%.
So if folks can't remember them and they were the most important, be who you are. Like, who's going to really remember, hey, he didn't dress well on this day in 2026 when you die and it's years later. Man, be who you are and live your life the way you want to live it. If you living it based on, well, I don't want to disappoint my parents, I don't want to disappoint, the folks down the road, I think that's allowed me to really navigate Tallahassee, but navigate life so much better, because I don't give a, and I mean this in the most respectful way, I don't give a damn. You know what I mean? Not in a disrespectful way of I'm just ignorant and I'm just going to ignore advice and things like that. Oh no, I'll listen to damn near anybody. But to the point of like social norms and you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't say that, you can't. I'm gonna tell you, it's because I know my heart, and I don't attack folks. Like, I wish well for everybody. Like, if a person ever, felt some type of way about me and something I've done, you would have to understand that it was a mistake, or I didn't mean it in a negative way.
Well, and the other thing is, on that note, being a man, and I'm sitting in FUMA not that long ago. A guy we both know says something about a guy that I know, that we both know, that's extremely bad. I mean, horrible. And I look at the guy and I'm like, that doesn't make sense based on the character of the guy that I know. And so I didn't repeat the rumor to anybody. I went to the guy and I said, hey, look, this is what's being said. And the guy's like, oh, no, that's not true at all. I don't even know where he got that from. And I think that going back to the thing, I think we should dress better as men for ourselves. Because when you dress nice, you act better too.
You feel better.
You feel better.
You feel better you feel more confident. To me, I know.
No, I think you're right.
I know when I go get a fresh haircut, I'm putting on my suit. It could be the same damn suit that I done switched up and I changed, because you can dress up and down a suit and different combinations. And I got my blazer on with jeans today, and you know, you can do whatever you
I
want
own
with
one
it.
nice jacket right now.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why you see me wearing it everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna buy another one this month, but it's the best one. Which, by the way, when I bought this thing, I actually argued because I said that ChatGPT told me I needed to wear it for work, and I was like, dude, I live in Florida. I don't want to wear a jacket to work. He said, well, that's why you need to have tropical wool. And I was like, well, what the heck is tropical wool?
Yeah.
Had no idea. So I asked my friend who, you know, drives the truck, and he's like, I've been telling you that for 2 years.
Yeah, man.
And he told me where to go buy one. And I got to tell you, it's the lightest jacket I've ever worn in my. It's Italian wool.
Yeah.
Lightest jacket I've ever worn in my entire life. I can be in 95-degree weather and I'm not sweating.
Yeah, you wouldn't be hot. And people always make that assumption. You ain't hot? No, I'm never hot.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm never hot. If I was hot, I'm not the guy. So I tell you this, if I was hot, I would take off the suit, or I would take off the jacket, or I would roll up my sleeves.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be hot just to say I'm in a suit. Because that's an appearance, that's a performative thing.
Yeah.
You know, I don't.
But who knows? I mean, I'm a guy. I'm 43 at the time. I consider myself fairly knowledgeable, you know, and can converse with people on different subjects. But I didn't even know tropical wool existed. And I'm in sales. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know it existed. And I've actually got a guy who's going to come on in the next. Yeah, Daisy, we know, girl. I've actually got a guy coming on in the next couple of weeks. I don't know what day yet, what Friday, but he is actually going to come on here and talk about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And men's style.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
what goes good with what and what men should wear. Mm-hmm. And he's straight, which is a good thing. But that's the other thing. When, you know, at least where I come from, we always look at it and be like, oh, well, only gay guys know about style, you know?
That was a big stigma for me for a while. And it wasn't a style thing, because even as a child, even as a small child, I loved to put on a suit. I loved the way it made me feel when I could put on a full suit.
I was the complete opposite. Mom would put it on me, and I'd take it off as fast as I could get it on me.
I loved it. I loved putting on the suit, even as a little boy.
Those old blue pinstripes they used to make us wear?
Yeah. Yeah, man. I got a picture. I got to find it and send it to you, let you see it. One of my, you know, you took pictures every year.
Every year at Easter.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about for school pictures. And my school picture, I think in 3rd or 4th grade, is me in a suit.
Nice. Nice.
Suit. So I've been wearing suits for a long time. But back to the stigma for me. The stigma came from like the nails and the feet and stuff like that. And if I can be extremely direct, I was laying up, you know, I like to every now and then like to cuddle up. Man, I had rubbed my big toe across this lady's leg, cuddled up. And she damn near screamed. She said, well, what is that? That was my big toe. Had all that dead skin on it. So at that point, I started going to get medi and pedis. But what happened, I was still, I won't say afraid. I wouldn't go into a salon. So what would happen, I found a nail tech that had her own private room, and I would go early on Saturday morning. I'm talking about 7:30, 8 o'clock on Saturdays to get in and get out. But to take care of yourself in a general sense, and I'm not talking about just the nails and the feet and things like that. Come up with a skin routine, man. Like, one of my biggest fears in life is to be in my mid 50s, 60s, even 70s, but I look like I went through hell.
Yeah.
Like, you look terrible for your age. You know what I mean? So I don't ever want to get to that point. I want to always have a sense of pride, gratitude, of just grooming experience. Like I'm always researching like what's gonna make me look a little bit better. Let me hold up, and you get some of these guys when they get older too, man. They got them big, the eye like the whale right here is just so big, and I'm like, man, like what can I do to prevent that early on, or you know what I mean? I try to be so proactive in life, Jay, and always think like the way my mind works. I'm always trying to be proactive in life to how can I stop this situation? How can I prevent this and do research that way?
No, and I think that's a good thing, and it's something that I am getting into. I am down to 295, below 300 for the first time in years. I am trying to lose weight and get in better shape. And as I've done it in the journey that I've been on, I've had to learn that there are foods out there which are great for you, foods out there that aren't. And then there's even fruit that should be eaten at certain times of the day. I said it last week with Greg, watermelon is God's gift to man.
It's water.
And
it'll hydrate you.
And it's got a chemical in there that actually regulates your blood. It lowers blood pressure and makes other things work better. But you should only eat that before like 11 o'clock. You should never eat watermelon after like midday. By pineapple and blueberries, you should eat at night because it helps you go to sleep.
Yeah. It's simple things that we can do, not just as men, but as people. I really don't care when a person says, you know better, you'll do better. No, that's not true.
That's not true at all.
Because people know they should be saving at some point some of their paycheck for emergency fund or investing or whatever that is. They know that.
But they don't.
They don't do it.
And if you ever want to know how to lose weight, ask a fat person. I guarantee every fat person in the world has studied how to lose weight.
That's what I'm saying. Like knowing better doesn't equate doing better. It's just that you have the knowledge to do better. So it's going back to what I said initially on. You have to create spaces and systems, to do things. Like you have to create the environment for it. I know in the morning when I wake up, man, if I'm not careful, I'll get up and sit on the side of the bed and just sit there, knowing I have work or whatever else to do, and let it be cold outside. Oh
yeah,
man,
yeah.
I'll just sit there, even though I know I have to get so and so at a certain place. You know what I mean? So what I started doing is being more proactive the night before. Let me go ahead and pick out my clothes and lay them out. Let me go ahead and set whatever I need out on the counter beforehand. My keys, my book bag, portfolio, whatever that is. And let me do all that the night before. You have to be proactive, man. And another thing as a man or as men, help whenever you can. Help somebody whenever it's possible, man. I'm not saying do anything really extra and go get money out of your bank account right now and go feed the homeless and do whatever. But I'm a big proponent of build yourself up first and help yourself. And I'm not saying ignore other people, but it's hard to help somebody else when you're broken.
Well, a poor man's never created a job a day in his life.
Right.
And we've got this stigma where we hate the rich. And I have had the privilege of knowing truly wealthy people in my lifetime. And I have never known a truly wealthy person. And I'm not talking about somebody making $100,000 a year trying to be wealthy.
Nah. But big money.
I've never known a big money person that didn't give a lot of their time and money to help people. And I'm sure they're out there and they exist, but I've never known them. Once again, we're going to take a 1-minute break and we'll be right back.